Now, you did touch on life cycle costs. What would you include in that for someone buying any home? I mean, to me, as someone who doesn't know, I would think maintenance and utility bills. Is it anything else?
Those are the two most obvious and kind of easiest to identify and understand: your utility bills and then maintenance. When you're choosing what you're going to put on your roof, is it a 25-year shingle? Is it a 35-year shingle? Or is it a metal roof that's probably going to last 50 years? So again, the upfront cost of a metal roof is significantly higher, and most consumers don't opt for that. Most builders don't opt for that because they don't want to pass that along to the consumer. But the reality is that roof is going to last a lot longer. So the life cycle cost of replacing it, and then also when you think about the really meta conversation of energy and consumption and waste that we're again that the home building industry creates. Okay, so in 25 years you're ripping off a 25-year-old shingle and you're throwing it in a landfill, or in 35 years you're doing that versus the metal roof is probably going to stay there for a lot longer. So even thinking about the life cycle cost to the planet, even beyond your pocketbook, but the pocketbook is what most people are focused on. So yeah, utilities and maintenance, but then also beyond that, again, the location. Everybody says in real estate, location, location, location. So it's not only about, am I in the school district where I want my kids to go to school, but, where am I in relationship to the places that I need to get to on a regular basis, whether that be work or school or caring for, a family member or going to the gym or whatever those things are that are important to me. How much time am I going to spend in my car? What's the cost of the maintenance of that car? What's the cost of gas, tires, everything else related to that. And then also the life cycle cost of, will this home work for me for a really long time? Am I able to find it? Is it possible for me to find a home that has the flexibility for me to have a family and grow a family here, or to potentially invite somebody, an aging parent or somebody, a boomerang kid to come back and, be here and live with me? Is it going, if I do decide that I'm, working from home, does it have a place for me to do that, long term, that I'm comfortable, that I'm not, working at my kitchen island every day, but I really have a bona fide home office. So even thinking about the layout and the home itself and what may be possible to do with it later, should you need to remodel to expand, add that in-law suite, add that home office, whatever that is. Choosing a home that gives you the ability to do that without forcing you to have to go move again. That's also, I think, part of that life cycle analysis.
Those are good points. Yeah. And I haven't really thought of like location, and because now you have maintenance on the home and the roof thing. It's like, you're right. In a metal roof, I mean, in Florida, you're going to buy 3 or 4 shingle roofs for the same, if you're going to keep a home for 50 years, of course, and most people don't. But then it's like, okay, do I get the value if I do a metal roof and spend double now? Will any buyer notice or care that that's up there and that it's better all around, more efficiency, better for hurricanes, maybe, whatever. But that's a really good point on that. And then all the other maintenance stuff in the house. But now you could go crazy with calculations on how far is the house from work or the schools, and how much gas are you spending and maintenance on the car, and like all that. You could almost build a giant calculator, but this is not, no one ever talks about that. It's like, and applying for a mortgage, no one asks what's going to be the utility bill on this new house, even though it siphons off hundreds per month potentially, or thousands per year. And I know friends that are living in not massive houses, but it's $5,000 a year, and bills just went up 30% last year and things like that. But that's not really on the radar with any of the buying process or consideration. People just think, you pay it, nothing you can do.
Right.
But we're finding that's not true. And then the education part, awareness in the beginning too.
Yeah. And that is something that I think, again, there's so many rabbit holes that we can go down that that are under this large umbrella of, home building industry challenges and opportunities. The education, like you said, for not only the consumer about, okay, well, you can probably afford a home that has, a $200 per month higher mortgage payment because we've proven to you that your utility bills are going to be significantly lower, are going to be $200 a month less than the house that you're considering across the street. So, apples to apples, your bank should be willing to give you more money to buy this home because they can see that your monthly overall budget of home ownership remains the same. But I don't think that that's the way it's working these days. The banks are not interested in and educated about looking at that whole all-in cost of home ownership. They're just looking at that first cost. And so then that becomes the consumer's responsibility to understand that. But again, even if they understand it, if they say to themselves, I know I can technically afford to buy that house because I've got $200 a month that's not going to the utility company that can go to my mortgage, that doesn't mean they're going to get that mortgage. The bank is not looking at it that way. So getting into education with the lenders and then the appraisals, there's been a huge amount of focus in the last 10 to 15 years on the Appraisal Institute having people who are trained and educated on being able to properly value a home with high performance components and, appraise it to be a higher value home because it's got these features. That's also something that, again, could be a whole other topic of conversation, and with folks that know far more about it than I do. I know enough about it to know that it's a problem, that it can be a problem, and it needs attention. And there's a lot of other folks that are better suited to tackle that than I am at this time.
And when you actually run the numbers, like what does $200 a month do on a 30-year mortgage? I mean, you're talking low five figures. I think I ran it when interest rates were lower, around 3 or 4%. I think it equated to like $40,000 or $50,000 more of a home that you could actually afford because you're not paying the bill. Like, it doesn't matter. You're paying the mortgage, you're paying the energy bill. Who cares?
Right.
But now you can afford a much bigger asset, or even meaning the home, or you can get into the home in the first place.